Hello YouTubers, this is the noobifier and welcome to another video as part of the Jobs series, Fuel Delivery. Sir Isaac Newton described motion using 3 laws. We take this for granted now, but it was quite revolutionary at the time. He was possibly the most important mathematician of all time. He professed that moving an object takes work, and work would be achieved by releasing energy. Without transferring energy, a stationary object would never move. That means in this universe, nothing happens without fuel. Let's begin. Fuel delivery is a subset of the cargo mechanics, however it's fairly plain to see it shares more similarities with mining, but more on that later. On 10 for the chair, Chris Roberts elaborated on how he sees fuel in the universe. He confirmed that not only there'd be different types, but also different qualities based on the skill of the refinery staff. Competitive racing ship pilots may be seeking the highest quality to get whatever advantage they can, and cargo haulers may be looking for some mid-grade fuel to improve their profit margin. He mentioned that he also wanted 2 qualities of boost fuel. The higher quality boost fuel would be more expensive, but would offer increased performance beyond the ship's normal characteristics. This, in conjunction with the overclocking mechanics, would offer the racer a wide set of tuning options. Chris also said that a higher grade jump fuel would offer better range per volume. If you had a stretch of space to cover and you were unsure if you could make it, you could pay a little bit more to top up on premium. A little bit of extra peace of mind that costs a bit into your profit margin. As I research for this series, I'm really liking how all the jobs are coming together. Let's break down the jobs associated with fuel collection and delivery. As I said, this is very similar to mining, but somehow less complex. You have the pilot who's responsible for the regular charting and navigation of the craft. That job would also include maneuvering through pockets of raw material that could be converted to fuel. That specific part of the job is only if the craft is equipped with the required scoop. The pilot would also be responsible for maintaining a steady course when performing boom refueling. Next is the scanner operator, who's responsible for finding the fuel. If the craft was set up as a fuel hauler, this role wouldn't be needed for finding fuel, and the refinery equipment would also be dormant. As I said, to collect and refine fuel, the fuel scoop needs to be attached. For fuel collection operations, you'd have to consider how the mission would start. You could just go prospecting for rich fuel locations. Knowing that patches form near a certain type of star or near a particular solar event could be all you need. You may simply want the casual gameplay of exploring space to collect fuel. Another way this could start would be to pay for information collected by an explorer. Long-range sensors on a ship like the Endeavour would survey vast areas of space. Information like this could save your scanner operator a lot of time by offering you a better place to start. Originally, there was a mention of a scoop operator in a couple of obscure forum posts. Unlike mining, the stuff you want is just out there to be collected. So with that in mind, I can actually see this position never making it into the game. The refinery operator would only be needed for collecting fuel rather than bulk fuel transport. And it was said that even if you're configured just to haul, the refinery equipment is part of the ship. When out collecting fuel, it's up to the refinery operator to manage the process to convert the raw material. If the settings were perfect, the operator would potentially collect a small volume of very high test fuel and a larger quantity of standard fuel. Just like in mining, your skill here could be the difference between breaking even and making a profit. Last is the boom operator. We actually know very little about this job. It could be as simple as the player extending the boom with a push of a button, and then sending the fuel to the ship that's in need. Unlike current aerial refueling, I see no need for a complex system where the boom is guided by a crew member. The boom operator might be responsible for negotiating the quality, quantity, and collection of payment. When I was researching, there was almost no information about the boom operator, so we're basically going to have to wait to see what Tony Z decides. The party leader is going to need to consider security as part of his cost. Engaging in some forward area reconnaissance or paying a scout to check out the unknown would be very prudent in most situations. Let's talk about the ships. There are only 2 specific ships for this game mechanic, and they're both virtually the same ship. The Starfarer or Star F and the Starfarer Gemini or Star G. This ship is built from the ground up as a fuel collection, transportation, refinery, and delivery platform. Both start out from the same hull, however the Star G was optimized by Aegis for military service, which is why it was rebranded. This ship launched a concept as a medium ship with a crew of 2. It grew up a lot. Now it lists a crew of 7 and it's a monster. In spite of that, CIG did confirm that with a crew of 2 and AI, you could operate the ship, and that it's fully capable of landing on a planet. The ship is broken down into unique sections. The back half holds the liquid cargo containers and the refinery components. These can be jettisoned or replaced with a modular container if you choose to carry standard cargo. Between the containers is a metal catwalk giving the crew access to the systems even if the ship is moving. There's a wide ramp indoors giving you access to the internal cargo bay. The cargo bay will support small vehicles like the Dragonfly or Greycat. For balance, it was announced that there were no actual plans for larger craft like the Ursa rover or any of the snub fighters. That could change as the universe evolves, but I also think it's fine for ships to specialize in their roles. I see this cargo bay as a great place to store supplies and spare parts for the journey. This ship offers some very diverse gameplay options by allowing the pilot to reconfigure it to perform liquid and regular cargo, or a mixture of both. The boom section will extend out the back for refueling operations. The interior has an engine room, the cargo bay, living quarters, access to turrets, captain's quarters, and the Jeffries tubes. The tubes are crawl spaces with access panels. I see massive defensive possibilities during boarding situations. The front is where the fuel collection happens. Both variants can mount a scoop or substitute an Aegis missile pod packing a big punch. No scoop, no fuel scooping. When choosing between the two variants, here's what you need to know. Both are strong, slow, and reasonably well defended. Double shields protect a very well armored hull. It's no wonder why the military opted to update this ship rather than making their own. The Star G packs a bigger power plant, better armor, stronger shields, larger weapons, and comes fitted with the missile pod. All that comes at the cost of a reduced cargo capacity and a noticeable hit on maneuvering, so it's very important to choose which variant makes the most sense to you. To me, this ship should never fly without an escort, so the standard Starfarer would be the one that I choose. Its bigger cargo and better maneuvering is more important to me. We'll have a couple ways to play fuel mechanics in Star Citizen. You can collect it and refine it, or you can just buy it and transport it. Just a reminder that fuel isn't the only thing this ship can carry. This ship is optimized for liquid, and in a drought, water could end up being 10 times more valuable than fuel. Your paycheck could be stranded strangers, org mates, or simply dropping it off at an automated fuel point like Cryastro. As usual in this series, I'm going to end with some scenarios. Scenario 1. You set off with 1 org mate and 5 AI for a day of collecting fuel. You find some fuel and spend a couple hours refining. Your teammate's actually a pro with the refinery, and he's able to extract mid-grade and a small quantity of premium. On your way back to offload, you see a call on Spectrum that there's a stranded ship that's slightly out of your way. You decide to help out. The distressed freelancer is out of fuel and stuck at SCM. Under the circumstances, the pilot agrees to pay an inflated price. You quickly refuel and get back on course to drop off, get paid, and log off for the day. You realize that you helped out, but you also put yourself at pretty big risk venturing off without any type of support. That call could have been a pirate trap, so you decide in the future to not rush in so eagerly. The freelancer pilot did rate your deed very well, which increased your reputation. Scenario 2. Your org is planning a deep space mission. A big fleet supported by fighters, marines, medics, repair, and exploration. It's your job to keep the fleet moving, but you're also the spare parts hauler. You decide to equip the scoop, allowing you to trade 2 fuel pods for cargo. Jump after jump, the fleet stops to refuel on the move. You deliver the higher quality fuel to the smaller ships to cut down on the rest stops. Depleted, the org scans and selects a spot for you to go to work. They scout out while you restock your fuel supply. I'm pretty sure you can see where this is going. Your presence within that fleet gives them peace of mind. Your ship is saving the org a ton of credit by offering an option other than Cryastro. I hope you enjoyed this rundown of the fuel mechanics proposed in Star Citizen. These videos take some time to research, and if you got something out of it, please do me a solid and share it with a friend or org mate who might be interested. Thanks very much for spending your time with me today. Please check out the other videos in this expanding series and subscribe to stay up to date. Thanks, and I'll see you in the verse.